time to move to the board chair report, which is mine. This time last year, I spoke about how exciting September is because it's the start of the new year and there's always a kind of buzz in the air. We definitely have that same electricity this year, but I don't think any of us would quarrel with the fact that this past year has been exceptionally eventful and exceptionally difficult. In just the last 2 months since our July board meeting, we have collectively experienced Charlottesville, the Barcelona attack, another attack in London, Hurricanes Harvey and Irma, 2 devastating earthquakes in Mexico, and of course the abominable rescission of DACA. And as you've just heard from at least one of the public speakers, there have been personal tragedies as well. I want to take just one moment to thank Charmaine Lawson, who came here today and told us the story of her son, a Humboldt State student. I want to thank her for her courage in coming today. All of these events, as hard as they are, remind us of the leadership role education plays in changing the world for the better. And that reflection always makes me feel, and I'm sure all of you feel, proud of the community that is the CSU. And particularly with respect to DACA, we are reminded of the impactful leadership that we enjoy in our Chancellor, thank you, Chancellor, and all of our presidents, in our students, in our faculty and staff who all have come together in light of this terrible decision. And the board as well. I'm proud to say the board as well. Unlike some of the other catastrophes we've experienced, the DACA decision can be turned into a success story if we all work together, and I say to you, let's make it so. On a different note, we had one other truly cosmic event occur during the past few months, what was known as the Great American Eclipse. And I have to tell you, somehow this event captured the spirit of millions of Americans, gave us one day of sweet respite from the barrage of negativity we've been experiencing. I went with my husband, 11 and a half hours in the car, a lot of crossword puzzles and podcasts, to get to Ketchum, Idaho, to see what I hope will not be just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I learned, using my lifelong learning skills, a lot about eclipses. It is the most amazing and infinitesimally small coincidence that we ever see a total eclipse. The moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, but it happens to be 400 times closer to us than the sun. And because of those 2 data points, one can obscure the other. I also learned that the moon is actually moving away from us, so, see them while you can, because it's not going to last forever. I learned that the pilgrimage, and it honestly felt a bit like a pilgrimage, of millions of Americans to get into the path of totality was the largest mass migration of humans ever. Isn't that an unbelievable statistic? And of course, I learned that whenever something of this magnitude is happening, the CSU is all over it. I read with great interest the excellent informational webpage that was developed by the Department of Physics at Sacramento State, where they also held a viewing party of the eclipse. Oh, I love looking at that picture, that diamond ring picture. I saw that Chico State got all of their stakeholders in the act. They held a viewing party on the first day of classes, hosted by several professors, accompanied by music streaming from Trinity Tower, which I understand was curated by the College of Humanities and Fine Arts. Cal State Dominguez Hills physics professor Jimena Cid stood on the path of totality in Idaho, which I think means she was pretty close to where I was. This was a must-do for Professor Sid, as her personal mission is to expand STEM and physics curriculum to more students. Prior to the Eclipse, Professor Sid taught a lab course in Dominguez Hill's Summer Bridge Academy, focusing on why eclipses occur and the larger questions involving astronomy. Professor Sid said that, quote, when a student stares at the countless galaxies in a Hubble telescope, it is just pure wonder. You can feel their excitement. And I think that's well said, Professor Sid. Cal Poly Pomona professor Dr. David Nagiri traveled to the Grand Tetons to replicate an experiment that was done in 1919, an experiment that was designed to ascertain whether Einstein's prediction of 1914 was actually true. Does gravity bend light? And using the total eclipse, they were able to ascertain in 1919 that it was absolutely accurate. The gravity of the sun bent the light of the stars. Dr. Nagiri was one of the very few institutions, we are one of the very few institutions that replicated this experiment in 2017. So it is a great pleasure to be one of the elite that made this happen once again. And finally, I had the great pleasure on my way up to Idaho to speak with Dr. Matthew Povich, who is a professor of astronomy at Cal Poly Pomona. He led this team of students that you're looking at on the screen and alumni all the way up to Stanley, Idaho, which was literally in the center of the path of totality. And these students and Dr. Povich captured these amazing images. I want to show you some of the images our students collected. Wow, that's National Geographic work there. Now, knowing the CSU, I'm pretty sure somebody's already working on the Chilean eclipse that will occur in 2019. And when professors head that way, please give me a call. I may not be on the board yet, but I want to go with you. You know, James Fenimore Cooper, who of course wrote The Last of the Mohicans, he witnessed an eclipse in 1806, more than 200 years ago. It was known as Tecumseh's eclipse. And he had these words to say, which certainly captured the way I felt. He said, I have passed a varied and eventful life, that it has been my fortune to see earth, heavens, ocean, and man in most of their aspects, but never have I beheld any spectacle which so plainly manifested the majesty of the Creator or so forcibly taught the lesson of humility to man as a total eclipse of the sun. I don't think I need to hear that song anymore, but it's a wonderful quote. So I want to congratulate the CSU, as always, for its massive and impactful participation in what I thought was a truly ineffable moment. Ineffable is one of those words I'm always dying to use. So this is one of the few times you could really use it. A few more accolades and informational items. Flying down to Long Beach, I came across, of course, this in my little Southwest magazine. Where's my slide? Oh. You know, I told the flight attendant that I knew the guy in this picture, and I was thinking maybe I could get an extra bag of peanuts out of it, but that didn't work. I do think it's appropriate that the Chancellor has his Superman CSU cape on, because his efforts on behalf of our DACA students and employees has truly been heroic. And from your grateful board, I want to thank you, Chancellor White. Finally, although it, I want to congratulate, oh, look at this. What is this? Water. Water. First, I want to thank the Alumni Council for giving me this not bottled water. The note says, Chair Eisen, you've inspired us to ditch plastic water bottles at all our meetings. Oh, thank you so much. I also want to thank the Chancellor and his team for their leadership in making the Chancellor's office, where we all sit, and all of its floors and conference rooms plastic water bottle free. Water coolers have been installed, marine life is being saved, and our carbon footprint is being reduced. And it could not be more timely. I'm sure many of you saw the recent study demonstrating that each and every one of us is ingesting plastic now every time we eat seafood and drink water because of the permeation of our water systems because of plastic water bottles. Presidents, I can't wait for one of you to call me up and tell me that your campus has accomplished the exact same goal. Now, it saddens me to say that Dr. Horace Mitchell has announced his intention to retire from the CSU. You still have time to change your mind. We will have time left this year to toast and roast Horace, and I want to mention just a few key points from his incredible 14-year legacy with the CSU and the Bakersfield community. Under Horace's leadership, Cal State Bakersfield reached record highs in both enrollment and graduation rates. In the months to come, we will be, oops, I forgot one. Dr. Mitchell enhanced the academic quality of the university, adding new academic programs with outstanding and world-class faculty and staff. We can't hear enough these days about Bakersfield. Gained NCAA Division I status in athletics. This is all under Dr. Mitchell's leadership, and much, much more, which all in sum have profoundly and positively altered the lives of tens of thousands of students and their families in the region that was underserved for far too long. We want to thank you for everything you've done for the CSU, for Cal State Bakersfield, for the Central Valley, and for public higher education in California. Thank you so much. In the months to come, we are going to be working hard to find a new leader for Bakersfield, but I will not say replacement. That is impossible. We will update this board and the Cal State Bakersfield community with more information as it becomes available. Trustee Nylon will serve as chair of the search committee, and there's likely no one here besides Horace who knows the needs and the opportunities of the Kern County region better. Thank you, Trustee Nylon. Joining John on the committee will be Trustee Reyes-Salinas. Thank you so much. Trustee Carney and Trustee Taylor. It will be a great committee. That concludes my report. Chancellor White.